Happy Friday, everybody. Josh here with On the Wrong Lead. Another episode of You've Gotta Be Sha Tinning Me. I am joined, as always, Mr. Matt Carlson. Matt, how are you doing, my friend?
Doing well. Doing well. Happy Valley went well yesterday, I guess, since we're recording this Thursday night. And that was good because Sha Tin last week did not go well.
Hmm.
That happens. So
Yeah, Sha Tin last week was saved by my good old beer bet coming through with a win. It was the only horse I win bet on the entire card, so that was nice to get that home. I already forgot what price I got. I think maybe I got 10-1, 9-1, something like that.
I think he got 9-1, which trounced my 56-1 very handily. So.
I'll take the wins where I can get them. Um, but yeah, Happy Valley, on the other hand, was uh, was not great for me until I realized your post about the birthday bet. And sure enough, in the
That's
last, Antoine Hamlin did not have a win. And sure enough, he got it in the last race. So that bailed me out. Funny enough, I think he got bet down kind of heavy.
he
I
was
think he was like
so
5-1 or four to
he
one or
was
something.
he was actually like favored overnight, which was a very tepid favorite at like 5-1. But yes, I think part of the birthday bet is they're putting them on horses that have a better chance of winning potentially. I do
Mm,
think that's potentially calculated. I don't think they're throwing races for jockeys' birthdays. However, if you want to keep track of that and gauge the ROI in the last race of Happy Valley near a jock's birthday, I have not run those numbers, I will admit, but I do think anecdotally it would be a very profitable angle. So, you know, cards, flowers, and win bets.
it's like Bill Mott on his birthday on steroids, apparently.
There you go. There you go.
Um, how did Belmont go for you last week?
Belmont went actually pretty well considering the disaster that was Belmont, right? I think I had my one domestic racing post of the year, which made me look absolutely brilliant. So I will never post a domestic racing post again and retire on top because that never happens. Yeah, I mean, I think I pinged you, right? I had some pretty strong opinions um, on Saturday's card. They actually were probably in the turf races, which was unfortunate because was what happened there. Um, but yeah, just I mean, I'm even blanking on the actual card right now, but I know when you guys went through it, like I think I hit both the Met Mile double into Sovereignty. I think I hit the Woody Stevens double into Sovereignty, and those paid okay considering what they were. But I think I had those both for like double base, so like $10 each at a decent win bet. Hit a couple of the races on Sunday just when the turf came back around. So it went well. But gosh, that was just a depressing weekend of typical Nairo stuff, unfortunately. So it's hard to remember the wins when that weekend felt like a bit of a loss. I will say, right, like the Belmont itself, for all complaining, like, hey, no one was there, it was empty, things like that. The apron looked full, the race was exciting, kind of forgot all about it, right? All the other stuff that went on went by the wayside. And if that's what they were going for, great. But to the, you know, fan that was looking forward to a, big weekend of racing there, didn't get that. So
Hmm. Yeah. Um, yeah, it was unfortunate the stuff with the weather and how that all kind of affected it getting moved. So last year Caleb went to Saratoga for a weekend, and that was the weekend where they did the same thing. They canceled some of the turf racings and moved it. Well, Caleb decided to go back for Belmont weekend, and the same thing happened. So I just think this is Caleb's fault. So he needs to stay away from Saratoga. I I'm kind of upset with myself, but I would have been more upset with myself if I would have bet uh if I would have bet the races because um Well, actually, no, because I it's tough because I think one of the races in the turf pick five did not ended up being off the turf, right? Because I think there were two on Friday and three on Saturday. I hit the two on Friday. I didn't play the bet because of the weather, and I was a little unsure of like what was going to happen. But I had the winners in the two turf races on Sunday. That would have been Saturday. And then if they would have stayed, if they would have ran, who knows what would have happened? Because I think the race that got washed off might have been the Zulu Kingdom Mibago race, and that obviously ran off the turf. Mibago I think went off as like your 2-1 favorite, and I think finished like third or fourth or something. But yeah, that would have been that. I felt like my opinions on the turf races were right. My opinions on the dirt races were absolutely wrong in any type of way you could imagine. So, I finally believed in good cheer, and that blew up in my face. Um, I completely discounted sovereignty. That blew up in my face. Uh, And the Met Mile, I thought that it was going to be fierceness or White Barrio. That also blew up in my face. So I had some real bad opinions. It's I don't know. It just didn't go my way. But we live and learn. We move on, and this weekend looks pretty light on the um, American side of things. But I believe we do have Ascot starting next week,
We do.
so we'll have some action going on with that, and then we'll see how the next couple weeks goes. But I'm gonna be pretty light, I think, through until at least July, when Saratoga kind of comes back. But
We always say that, and then
I
Ascot
know.
starts running at like 9:30 in the morning or whatever it is.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
firing at Ascot. Oh,
yeah,
don't
see,
get me
well, they
wrong.
all
I'm
right.
firing at it. Yeah,
I've never, I
like
don't think I've ever
crazy
hit a
here.
race at Ascot, but man, that's some of those large fields. You're like, oh
Yeah. All right, let's get into this card here. We're gonna start here in race 9, the HKU Foundation Handicap, and here we got a 1800-meter race, full field of 13. Um, you know, I thought that this was an interesting race. I kind of feel like this two horse is gonna get bet down and just like bet off the board. I think he looks all right. Obviously his race 4 and 5 back, both those races I think fit. Especially I think the 1800 race, and he's kind of gotten off form a little bit. And then Abdullah's getting off. You get Pert in the board, and how much is that worth? I'm not sure, but I don't know. I think this is a horse it has some very very competitive races in here. I think especially the 1800 races. Like especially that 1 4 back, I think looks really good here. So I think he's going to be short, but I don't know. He just looks like the type that might be rounding back into form here off of 1 or 2 bad races, and get Zach aboard, right? So I kind of feel like that's going to be probably real short price. Um, And then I think the other short price in this field, who I'm interested in, is the 8 Joy of Spring. This is a horse that just wants to go this distance, right? He's got 6 starts going 1800. He's got 3 wins and a second, and at Sha Tin, He's got 3 wins with a first and a second. So his only kind of like off race was the race 3 back, and he finished third or sixth by 3 lengths in that race. Kind of got blocked off a little bit in that race, and he kind of I mean he drew a pretty bad post there in the 11 post. The 1800 meters is a one turn race here. I mean, you have a lot of time before the turn, right? So you should have plenty of time to kind of navigate and get good position. But I think no matter what, being drawn a little bit more inside is never a bad thing. And I think he draws perfect here. He gets the four posts in this race. So I really like the eight in the spot, and then I'm also going to use the two enthralled. Maybe I have to hit the Zach Purton simple arm here for that one. But I just think that the two looks like the type of horse that we see win all the time here at Sha Tin, right? Zach gets aboard a horse that's kind of improving, and yeah, I'm not going to go against that. So I'm just going to be 2-8 here. Matt, where did you land?
Yeah, I wanted to get around the two. I mean, for similar reasons that you said, right? I think he's going to be short. I think this is a weird field, right? I mean, you just have a lot of horses that are kind of cutting back, right? Like most of these horses are either running or have either run recently at like 2000 at Shot 10, which is a much different race than 1800, right? That's two turns. Or they were running at Happy Valley, which again is two turns. So you're kind of stuck in this field trying to figure out, okay, who wants to go back to that long one turn race? I don't really know. I didn't really know where to go. I did agree with you on Joy of Spring. I do think, and I posted this on Wednesday. Like, I always wonder if my data is like way overvaluing Ellis Wong in the weight break with some of this stuff. But he does look best on paper, right? To me, it looks like that horse that wants to cut back to that one turn, 1800-meter configuration, right? So that's where I went. I think is my kind of primary A in here. Is coming off a win, but doesn't only has to pick up 3 pounds because he's picking up Ellis Wong as a jockey who we'll see, right? I don't know if bug weight is the same as normal jockey weight or like carry weight, debatable, but um, yeah, I thought he just based on the couple races that he's run and shot 10 on 1800 looks like he's the fastest horse just based on past races, right? That said, I don't know. That's not an overly confident pick to me. It's just this race is pretty confusing, and I didn't know where else to go. The couple other horses that I think I was like, okay, I could scratch my head and maybe use. I thought Gentleman Legacy, potentially was a use in the seven, right? And me, I'm a sucker for lightly raced horses, right? Like I think
Mhm.
that's always, if I'm ever in doubt in a field, right? Like I'm always going to default to a horse that probably hasn't shown he stinks, rather than a bunch of horses that I think aren't that good. So yeah, I mean, I do like the pattern, right? He's kind of been building up that fitness. Started at 1400, ran 1600, building up to 1800. That's good. He's been closing into some like moderate to slow paces. I think that's good, right? All that kind of says to me, maybe you get a price on this horse, and maybe this horse still has something to show. Maybe they're kind of purposely building up um, to show something here. So we'll see. TBD. I think just based on what I think the price will be, I think it's right for this horse. Kind of because you haven't seen what he can do just yet. So to me, I think that's worthy of an A as well. And then when in doubt, right, use a low weight. I went to the 13 Mighty Strength. Hasn't tried one turn yet in Class 3, and maybe that cutback is just what he wants, right? I do think there's some potential, kind of like I was saying that 2000, and running two turns just isn't what this horse wants to do. Um, and, TBD if 1800 is what this horse wants to do, but at 120 pounds in the low weight and a decent draw, I think I'm willing to take a shot as a B in here. So 7 and 8 will be my A's, and then Body Strength in the 13 will be a B just as a flyer.
All right. Let's move on here. Race 10, all weather racing, your favorite. We're going to go in 1200 meters here. Class 3 racing. Got a nice field here of 12 with two AEs. Where did you land here?
I really don't like. I mean, dirt racing's hard. I just don't know where to go. Right. I think there's a decent enough, setup in here for a closer. I think there's some speed signed on. Hard to want to take a dirt closer, but I was kind of looking at the pace of this race and was like, okay, I think a lot of these horses want to go. And so who can pass and who kind of has the right setup in here? Mine went to the 11, Mr. Energia. I think has been that consistent dirt closer in here and could get a setup. I think he's the one that's due for a win. Part of, weights and handicaps in this, kind of maybe sometimes benefits you in saying, okay, you haven't won the last couple, and because of that, your weight's kind of stagnant. But you've been running well. So at 116 and Teton to board now, instead of Matthew Poon, that's where my eye went to. Um, Teton's been riding a little bit better. He's been pretty bad all season. I think he's like seventh in the jockey standings overall, which is usually not where you see him. But in an otherwise even field, this horse is a first, a second, a third, and I think a fourth on dirt in the 4 lifetime starts. So dirt's where this horse wants to be. And like I said, I think just given the setup, given the weight, I think this is the one that is most due. The other two horses that I wanted in here are probably going to be your top two choices. I think Gummy Gummy and the 1 and the 5 Solid Shala are you know classy enough to take this out, right? Oh, never mind. Good, he's withdrawn. So scratch that. Shows how much I know. So yeah, don't use the 5. Wonder why that didn't pull my stuff. Yeah. Oh well. Did he get replaced with someone?
Not yet. So, or at least not that I saw.
I think Eason might be running now. So when I ran this before,
Oh,
anyway.
Eason. Yeah, there you go.
So don't use Eason. Scratch both those. So
Yeah,
just use Gummy Gummy
Hamlin's
instead.
birthday was earlier this week.
Yes, yeah, he already celebrated by winning the last race in Happy Valley. That's not an angler. So anyway, Solid Shalaw's out. So only use Gummy Gummy, right? I mean, Gummy Gummy is class 2 placed on dirt. They don't run many class 2 races in dirt, but he could just be better than these. He probably is just better than these. So I think that's the only other place I'll go. I'll just use the 1 as well. Probably as a B based on price. I think he probably goes off favored in here. But yeah, I'm trying to get a little skinny in here just because I'm like, if I don't use those two, you could probably make a case for the rest of them too, right? Dirt racing's hard. These figs bounce around a lot. So, 11 and the 1, just my 2 plays in here.
Yeah, I went completely different than you there. So that's good to hear.
Good for you.
Um, I think my topic is actually going to be the 2 Packing Bull. This is your speed in this race, drawn in the 5 post. And it does have a win at this distance, 5 back. And if you actually look at his record at this distance on this track, it's pretty good. 9 starts. He's got 2 wins, 2 seconds, a third. So it seems like he likes he likes sprinting here. Um, and yeah, he seems to do very well when he's drawn like a little bit more inside. Obviously, his last win was when he was on the rail. Um, and then he's kind of been drawn outside a bit the last couple times, but I think he gets a good draw here again. Um, he finished second by a neck to the horse that you thought would be favored, the 5 Solid Shala last time out. So yeah, I think Packing Bull is in here with a really really good shot. And I think he was one that kind of went off form a little bit, but I think it came back in a big way last time. So I like him coming in here. And then, I mean, we're going 6 furlongs on the dirt. I got Brittany Wong on my ticket somewhere. And that's the 4 Mask Rider. This is another horse that's shown some speed. And, if you kind of look back through the last couple of races, you see a horse that's kind of off form a little bit. Um, you know, I I don't really know what happened in that Karis Teton ridden race 3 back. Um, but the last 2 is just another case of being drawn, I think, very poorly, and being drawn out wide in these 6 furlongs or 1,200-meter sprints here. So you get a better draw here. And if you kind of go back and look at some of the races, look at the race 4 back when this is a horse that was drawn a little bit better. Um, you just saw a much better effort, right? You saw a horse that finished third in the blanket finish, but lost by a half length. So I think the 4 Mask Rider here with a little bit improved draw, will be pretty tough. I obviously the 1 it looks tough in here. I think you could probably make a case for horses like I don't know, maybe the 7, kind of trying dirt for the first time. I thought might be a little bit interesting. Um, And then, I'm actually kind of surprised you didn't go with the 12 with your love of lightly raced horses, right? I mean, this horse hasn't done anything wrong, but um, I kind of expect this horse to be bet down pretty big. But
Yeah,
I think
it's tough with the class jump on that horse is my only thought, right? Like, yeah, a couple nice races in class 4 are great, but you're running against horses that are solid like class 3 dirt horses. This is a pretty good dirt field. So, maybe.
yep. So those are. I'm just going to use those two horses. I'm going to be going too deep here again. I'm going to use the 2 and the 4. All right, and then race 11, the Hong Kong Jockey Club Scholarships Handicap, 1,400 meters here, Class 3 racing, and I got three horses here. I think the 5 Patch of Stars obviously is going to be bet down like crazy. I think right, this is the horse coming off 2 straight wins. Zach gets aboard, all of a sudden the horse knows how to win. And I think he's going to be pretty tough in here. Um, and like honestly, the only other horses I'm going to use along with him, I thought the 13 Master of All. Um, I thought this was a pretty interesting horse here in that he's shown a lot of speed, and he's another horse that looks like when he's been drawn inside and been able to show that speed, he's been very dangerous. Now granted, he's coming up in class. He's only been in class 3 once, and that was his last run, and he finished 8th. But I don't know if you see what I see on the 13, but I love a good old epiglottal entrapment. And yeah, so this is a horse that had to go off go off for a couple months here. Is coming back, draws the rail, and last time this horse drew the rail, he won. And I mean, obviously it was a different class, but um, I'm interested to see. I mean, this horse is carrying 115 pounds here. I'm really interested to see how this horse runs off the old entrapment surgery or whatever he had to have there. So I like the 13 here. I think Zach's going to be tough as he usually is. And then the only other horse I'm going to use is a horse in the 2 Silvery Breeze. And this is another horse coming off of kind of a bit of a layoff. 3 or 2 races back, fell and bled, and they brought the horse back, and he actually ran okay next time out. Finishing 4th by a length and 3/4. And then I don't know what happened. I think I didn't look at the vet report why he kind of got withdrawn from his race last time out, but he's coming back here. Matt, we've talked about this. They don't let these horses run without very significant checks and things like that, which is probably why he was withdrawn. It's probably going back to the time he fell and coming out of the next race, which, like I said, he ran fine in, but got a little bit more time. He's coming back here again. I feel like I'm just betting the island of misfit toys here a little bit, but this is a horse. Like I said, if you go back and look at some of those back races, I think he's the only horse that's kind of run races that fit in with what horses like Patch of Stars have run. So you know, obviously we're coming off of being withdrawn a race. He fell 3 or 2 races back, so like maybe maybe the horse is not the same, and he doesn't draw all that well, which is why I'm not as excited to bet him. I have him as my lone B on this entire ticket, but I am going to be using the 2 Silvery Breeze here a little bit. Where did you land, Matt?
Well, we have the same A's for the same reasons, so I don't have too much else to talk about, right? I think Patch of Stars, like you said, is probably going to go off very short and should be favored in here, right? I think he's just better. Master of All, I mean, my questions were the same ones you had, right? Like he's it the speed factor in the 115 and coming off of a layoff, which I like, although I don't think that angle has worked at all. Like I think we've had however many episodes this year, and it's been me telling you to bet layoffs and then wondering why these horses don't run well off layoffs. I don't know. It just hasn't been a thing this year, but it used to be, I swear. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think if this horse is fit, it's intriguing to have a dead speed horse at 115, right? Like a just full send and hope you hang on, at the lightest weight, right? I think I'm always going to bet those, but off a 3 month layoff, moving up in class, are there questions about that? Yeah, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I'm 5 and 13 as the A's for the exact same reasons. Otherwise, right? The only other horse that I wanted to make a case for, again, given my love for lightly raced horses, was the 8 Sea Chariot. I thought the first race, you know, fig wise, was pretty good. I mean, the horse laid in the stretch that kind of mimicked what he did in the first trial as well. So I don't know, right? I mean, it suggests that this horse is still pretty green and trying to figure things out. But I do think that kind of also on the flip side gives you to say, okay, well, he ran pretty well, but also is still trying to figure things out. Is this the race where he figures it out, right? Like is race two, now that you have a race under your belt, going to be where this horse actually, perks up and runs better. And, if he gets, a straight ride, who knows how much talent this horse has. So I think I'm always willing to kind of give another chance to a horse that showed something on debut, ran respectably in class three, and even ran it with a, somewhat of a troubled trip, quote unquote, even though he created his own trouble. So, uh, yeah, I think that'll be the only other one that I want to use in here, given the good draw and the kind of promising debut. But most of the money will be through the same as you, 5 and 13.
Cool. And then for your bonus race, where did you go?
I went to race 8. Um, Happy that all these Happy Valley horses are running here, considering I don't think they're running on Wednesday. They're off for Ascot, so they're won't have Sha Tin, I think, for another like, or have Hong Kong for another like 8 days after Saturday. So,
Mm.
um, but yeah, my went. I mean, look, your favorite horse is actually running in this race, so I'm surprised if maybe you picked this race, but um, I don't think he wants to run at Sha Tin. So I went to the 6 Tomodachi Kokoro in here. Right, this race is obviously pretty competitive, but I do think he's shown kind of the best form in his past 2 races off the layoff. Obviously, last one was at Happy Valley, but even before that at Sha Tin, um, he's just kind of seemed to pick something up off that layoff. And maps a little bit better than the rest of these in here. Not a ton better, but potentially upwards of like a length better than a lot in here. So I'm willing to kind of take that, right, just based on the kind of the good form that this horse is in. And if I didn't bet this horse, I'd be stuck betting like Wonder Bar again, and I really don't want to do that for like the 8th time and tell you that this horse is due for a win, even though if I don't bet him, he's probably finally going to cash in for me. But yeah, that's where I'll go. I'll go to the 6. Tomodachi Kokoro is my best bet, I think, on this card, and hopefully at some pretty decent value.
Nice. I actually went to race 2. Um, and you know, I love me a good one turn race that just is absolutely devoid of any kind of speed. And I think that this one beautiful win is drawn perfectly, gets Orman aboard again. And last time he took this horse to the lead and just came up a little bit short. I think the difference in this race is going to be the post position. And I think if he can kind of run back to that same effort he had last time out, he's got a tactical advantage here. And this is a very, very bad group of horses. I mean, this is just, I cannot, this is an awful group of Hong Kong horses. Like, I, I'm looking through like some of the Speed Pro figures, and I'm like, oh, this horse only ran a 90, and then I'm like looking, I'm like, that 90, I think wins here. And I don't remember the last time I thought I like saw like a 90 energy figure on Speed Pro thinking like that might be a winning effort in the race. But I think in this race, I think it's good enough. So you don't need a lot of improvement from that last time, that last out effort to win. And I think he gets an even easier time here because he's drawn inside, and there's just not any other speed. I mean, maybe the two Smiling Collector, maybe he tries to go, but I don't really see it there. The eight, you know, the eight's tried this distance before, and he didn't really show much speed. I mean, you just got. I mean, I'm not even seeing like twos and threes. I'm seeing horses coming from way off of it here. So yeah, I just think that Beautiful Wind's going to get the perfect pace set up here. Um, we'll see what price we get. He got bet down to 8-1 last time. My guess, I honestly, I'm going to assume that he's probably going to go off pretty short, if not your favorite. The other horses in here that maybe people might like maybe I mean, the three's been running on dirt, so I don't know if they're just like trying to dirty up that form. Because like four back Zach decided to get aboard, so Zach doesn't just get aboard any old horse. So maybe there's something there, but like now I'm trying to bet a horse not that Zach is on, but that Zach rode four races ago. He's riding the nine in here. Maybe this horse just gets bet, but this is a horse that was you know 35-1 in his last time out, 34-1 last time he was here at Sha Tin. You know, I don't know. I don't see it, but maybe they think that going the longer distance is going to be the ticket for the nine. But I'm gonna take a shot with the one. I'm sure you got some absolutely just damning stat on Orman that is gonna make me rethink this, but
I
you know.
mean, looking at the he's 1 for 15 at the distance, but like whatever. That I don't think that really matters when you're looking at this field because you are right. As I scroll through this, this is a bad field. this is this is a really bad race. Yeah, I your one makes a lot of sense. Yeah, you, the only other horse I think could go or might have to go is Matthew Chadwick, who is on the 14 horse from the 14 post, which in class 5 is not where you want to be.
No.
you can't bet that horse. uh, don't do it. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe maybe
Yeah, I mean,
squint and
like,
bet the 12 in here. I have no idea. Yeah, it's bet the one.
I
It's
mean, like
class dropping.
the only other horse that I thought maybe made a little bit of sense, like I said, we take Purton out of the equation. I thought the 11 Gold Tack made some sense here,
Yeah, he
but this
stands
is,
out a little bit too, but
but he's just like, it's just like they don't know what to do with this horse. I mean, you look at you don't often see this at Sha Tin or at Hong Kong in general. This is a horse that in five, well, now going six straight races, has not run in the same configuration in any of them. We're talking a horse that's running 1600 here, ran 1800 at Happy Valley, 1650 at Happy Valley, 2000 at Sha Tin, 2200 at Happy Valley, and then, okay, back to 1600 at Sha Tin, right? Um, so it's just, I don't know. It's just really, really weird. This is a horse that doesn't have any wins at Hong Kong yet. Hamlin's won his race for probably the month already. So,
yeah.
it's just tough to get there. But I mean, I guess you could say this is a horse that's kind of been improving. Uh, but yeah, I
I
don't
don't
know. I
I
I
don't think
just
you
think
want the short price you'll get on that horse. Like, and that's not a short price horse, but like people
no.
probably will bet that horse. So
No, I mean honestly, I would probably take. I would take the one. Like I'm guessing, the Zach horse is going to take some money because it's Zach. I could see this one horse being, second for like either favorite or second choice, but lukewarm, right? Like we're talking like 4-1 ish, and that's probably about where I kind of see kind of the fair value on this horse. I mean, honestly, I think the fair value on this horse is probably even lower. But I just think that, you know, just the fact that you're kind of getting, I just think the outside factors, right? Like seeing that it's Orman and not somebody else aboard, and um, the fact that Zach is in this race. I mean, I think that lowers his chances in general. But yeah, I think that I'm interested to see what price we get on this. I don't think we have earlies this far in advance. Although what we're 18 hours out, so probably not. Um,
A little bit longer than
but
that because it's 4 a.m. Saturday, so we're
um,
whatever. But
yeah, but yeah, I thought yeah, I thought that this was just like an absolutely like ridiculous. I could not believe it. I wonder if Andrew is going to message me because he said, was it a couple weeks ago? He was like, "This is the worst group of horses I've seen in a Hong Kong race." I'm going to see what he says about this one. Um, but
I'm happy that you see our handicapping styles though here, where we spent a lot of time discussing what we thought was a horrific race. It's
yeah,
normally not bettable, right? So we're like,
yeah,
yeah,
normal
bottom of the
bad race.
barrel.
All
This
look
is what
at
we love.
it's like you know what it's like. You know, there's two things, right? You know, like you eat something really good or you have a beer, it's really good. You're like, oh, you gotta taste this. But when you have something that's awful, you can be like, oh my god, this is terrible. And what's the first thing someone says? Really, it's that bad? Hold on, let me taste it.
Yeah, you gotta share the pain. You know, it's about that shared
uh,
experience, right? That's the real joy.
uh, oh man. And that's going to do it for us here on You've Got to Be Sha Tinning Me. Obviously, check us out at onthewronglead.com, at wrong_lead on Twitter. Make sure you like and subscribe. Hit all the buttons down there for us. I am at Cherry Drank. Matt is at Slow and Steadied. Check out his full card picks up sometime tomorrow night before the early post. Yeah, let's make some money this weekend. And I don't know, have some beers. See ya.
Amen.